Hello everyone and welcome to our Spring Term 1 Parent Forum on Thursday 6th of January 2022. I'd like to say it's a lovely day outside, but looking out my window now it looks rather wet, but it's a bright, sunny place here at the Prince of Wales School. I'm joined in the room, you can't see her, by Mrs. Chawton.
Hello.
Mrs. Chawton's here to make notes and any action points that we need to move forward. She'll note. I have put you all on mute at the moment, but if you would like to ask a question, feel free to unmute at any time. You've got that ability to. Hopefully you can all see and hear me okay, and see the slides that I'm putting up on the screen. It's great to see so many people in the call. We've got 13 people in the call, and we are recording the session, and we'll be sharing that later on as well. So if anyone needs to catch up with it or anything that is shared, then obviously that will be available. We've had a really positive start back to the new year at the Prince of Wales School. It has seemed a bit strange having a 4-day week, but obviously it's gone very quickly. All the children have settled really well into class, and there's just some wonderful learning happening across the school. Year 4 are getting all ready for their big Shakespeare performance, and we'll be heading off to the Weymouth Pavilion on Monday for their orientation. And I'm really looking forward to joining Year 4 on that visit. And what is a very key milestone in the children's journey through the Prince of Wales School, performing on the stage at the Weymouth Pavilion. We'll come to all of what's coming up next in a few slides time, but for now, I'm just going to start by giving a bit of an update on COVID. Hopefully, for some reason my titles have gone on my slides, but that's fine, I know what they should say. Really, just a quick update on COVID. Obviously, you're getting regular letters from me about COVID. And as you'll know by following the news, there are constant changes. Rest assured, we're not giving any advance notice of those changes, and we are processing information as it comes in, often via news bulletins. And we're doing our best to get that information out to you as quickly as possible, should there be any changes. We are now putting daily updates out, and as I explained in my letters, we're not asked to do that by the DfE, but we think it's obviously really important that you know as parents if there is COVID in your child's class. And at the moment, we have had 2 positive cases this term while in school. Those have both been in reception, so we are +1 on that today, and we will keep sharing and updating to you should there be any further positive cases. All the other classes at the moment are COVID-free, but obviously we'll continue to monitor that. We've made the decision today to keep the current measures in place for a further 2 weeks. This will be up to and including the 28th of January at the moment, and this is linked to Boris Johnson's announcement that the country will stay on Plan B for the time being. That decision has been promised to be reviewed by the 26th, so by the 26th we also hope to have new information for you. Unfortunately, this will mean that there will continue to be no clubs after school, and the office will process refunds and or rebookings for you on that behalf. The challenge with clubs is that we have, traditionally in clubs, we have children mixing from different year groups to ensure their viability, and obviously that's not an option for us at the moment while we continue to be in class bubbles. There'll continue to be no assemblies face-to-face until the week after the 28th, the 1st at the moment. And we'll continue to review all the measures that we have in place to ensure that we keep everyone as safe as possible. Moving forward, I'd like to stress the ongoing importance of PCR testing. Obviously, it's been in the news this week that there are changes, the government have made changes so that those people that are taking lateral flow tests that are asymptomatic and test positive, they don't need to take a PCR test. However, it's really important to note that if you've got symptoms, you are still required to take that PCR test. And on symptoms, you may have seen the letter that I sent out today. I've included the guidance from the Zoe COVID study, whose research shows that there's more to COVID than the 3 classic symptoms. And I've listed those with their illustration to the right there. And it's really important that we're all mindful and we keep an eye on that. And look, we fully recognise that, you know, we'll experience of working with young children and recognise how common runny noses are and sore throats and coughs. But we really need to be very, very aware at this time that we've got a new strain of COVID and we need to do our best to protect everyone from that. So please do take time to look through those. Do check out the Zoe COVID study. Feel free to come back to me if you've got any questions or concerns. And let's continue to work together to get through this time. And we're very hopeful that in the coming half term we can be in a position where we can relax the restrictions again and get back to being working in mixed groupings across the school and bringing things back like clubs. And there's nothing that we want to do more than bring back those opportunities to the young people. But obviously, first and foremost, we need to ensure that everyone is safe. Moving forward, I want to update you on in some Inspire to Learn programs, because despite all of the challenges of COVID and all the things that we've just discussed, we ultimately, thank you, Mr. Edmonds, ultimately we want to ensure that we continue our drive to provide the very best learning experiences for our young people and continue our Inspire to Learn approach. And we're really dogged in that, it's probably fair to say. We're really determined that no matter what's going on around us, no matter how many barriers and challenges are put in our way, we'll continue to inspire your young people to learn, because we fully recognise that they only get one shot at being at the age that they are now. So if they're in the reception, you only get one chance of being 4 or 5, and we need to make that chance count, and we need to make sure that we provide the very best in what we do. That's why we've got a whole scheme and programme of enhanced learning activities coming up over the coming half term, and we've also got some small changes to share with you as well. The first of which is to introduce some new members of the team. You may be aware that our long-term speech and language therapist, Isabel Williams, left us last term. She retired from her role, having supported us here at the Prince of Wales School for many, many years, working closely with our unit role children. Our speech and language therapist is not a direct employee of the school. They work for the NHS, but we contract half a day a week for someone to come in and support us with our speech and language needs across the school. And I'm pleased to announce that we now have a newly appointed speech and language therapist in Alison Leamy. I'm sorry, I haven't got a photo with the mask off, because she's always very masked up when she comes in full PPE at the moment, in line with the requirements. But Alison will be joining us every Wednesday morning here at the Prince of Wales School. She'll be based in Mrs. Bishop's office at the front of the school. And we'll be working through specific programmes as led by our SEN team here. So should you need to have a chat with Alison or any other member of the SEND team, please come and speak to the office, and I'm sure that there'll be plenty of opportunities to network and support every child with their development in speech and language. We're already going to be using Alison for teacher training moving forward, and collaboration opportunities are being explored. So very exciting to have a new speech and language therapist on the team. Also share with you that our 2 trainee teachers have moved on. Miss Bridge has moved on to a year 6 placement in North Dorset, and she'll be back with us in the summer term, back into year 1. And Miss James has decided to leave the teacher training programme and is pursuing other avenues in education. So we wish her well for the future. Miss Emma Dewey is joined us as a new trainee teacher based in year 1, and I'm sure if you've got children in year 1, they've already told you all about her. And it's great to continue to have a strong presence of trainee teachers in the school, and we look forward to seeing Emma grow through this half term in year 1. We've also been involved in appointing a new deputy head teacher, which we are very excited about. As I shared in previous parent forums, we were running a process through the autumn term, and in the last week of term on the Monday, many of you would have spotted 4 probably awkward looking people dressed in suits at the top of the drive there, because it's the very start of their interview day, to come out and say hello to parents and carers as they came in, join us for interviews. And I'm really pleased to report that we had a record number of people interested in the post of deputy head teacher at the Prince of Wales School. For about 4 or 5 weeks, I don't think me or Mrs. Shorten stopped doing tours for people. We had lots of people come and look around the school, and it was always a great pleasure to share our Inspire to Learn approach with potential candidates. Those tours led to a record number of applicants. It's well known in education that not many people want to be deputy head teachers and head teachers at the moment. Many prefer to stay away from the leadership responsibility. However, for us, we were overwhelmed with the response that we had to the application, and actually it took a long time to go through and to read and score and research the candidates that applied. In the end, we narrowed it down to 4 exceptional candidates that were interviewed, And I can honestly say that each and every one of them was appointable and had many things to offer the Prince of Wales School. 30 people were directly involved on the day, including governors, including staff at every level of the organisation, so teaching assistants, teachers, senior leaders, admin staff. Obviously, governors were involved in the process as well. We also had 2 head teachers from other schools involved in the process to support us making the right decision. All pupils were also involved, either through pupil voice interview panels or through attending one of the assemblies that was presented and feeding back their thoughts. Overall, it was a very, very rigorous process, and you can see on the next slide some of the sorts of things that the candidates got involved in. They spoke with the school council. They were presented with a scenario based upon meeting the needs of a child with SEND. They observed a lesson and provided feedback on that. They led assemblies. They had a formal data task, a formal interview, a formal finance task, and a formal safeguarding task. So it was a very thorough and long day in which we were really able to find out the candidates, and ultimately it left us in a position where we narrowed down those 4 to appoint 1 outstanding candidate. So we are pleased to share with you today that we have appointed Mrs. Corin March as our new deputy head teacher. Corin is currently the Year 1 leader and former Senko from Wyke Regis Primary Federation down in Weymouth. She has extensive experience of working across early years, Key Stage 1 and Key Stage 2. She is an exceptional individual who is going to bring a lot to the school, having worked in various different roles and various different elements that she brings. So we're really excited that Corin's going to be joining the team. Most importantly, and I'm not going to share this in a letter or anything, but she was the children's favourite, undoubtedly the children's favourite. It was the clear voice that came back from the pupil voice and through the assemblies as well. And that really excites me, and really excited the interview panel team, as well as ticking lots of other boxes as well. It's really important that the children saw her as a fantastic candidate and their future deputy head teacher. Corin has her commitment to finish at Wyke Regis Primary Federation, and will be working there throughout this term, and will be starting with us directly after Easter. In the meantime, the arrangements that we currently have in place for all of the classes will continue. There'll be no changes for the children, and we're very thankful to both Mrs. Bishop and Mrs. Thorpe, who continue to step up following Miss Johnson's departure, prior to Mrs. March joining us after Easter. So some very exciting news to share with you today. Our new deputy head teacher, the official announcement. Moving forward, I wanted to share with you some dates that are coming up. We're very excited that at the end of this half term, we're going to have a very busy week indeed. We're going to have our Eco STEM week. We're going to be joined on the to launch this Eco STEM week by Vijura. Vijura is a former Rolls-Royce engineer and a professional street dancer. So he's going to bring a really exciting and enigmatic start to our Eco STEM week. Also during Eco STEM week, there will be the Shakespeare by the Sea Festival. So on the Wednesday evening, Year 4 will be performing Shakespeare at the Weymouth Pavilion. It's a public event, so anyone can come along. Tickets are only £2. So we're hoping that we can fill up the pavilion and really celebrate all the fantastic hard work that Year 4 are doing around the subject of Shakespeare. On the 17th, the day after the Year 4 Shakespeare, we have a very special visitor. We have Thomas the Gorilla visiting us. Here's a picture of Thomas. He is from a company called TeachRex, who we have tried to work with in the past. You may remember our Dragons-inspired week, and unfortunately our plans were halted that time by COVID, although the teachers did a great job in adapting and making a fantastic learning experience for the children anyway. Thomas will be coming in and spending time with each class and some visitors as well, so we're really looking forward to that. We've also got our traditional book week, the first week in March, and we will be having a dress-up day for World Book Day, so maybe start thinking now about those costumes. And then we'll be having an arts week and a PHSE theme week and an inclusive sports fortnight across the summer term as well. So an awful lot to look forward to here at the Prince of Wales School, lots of activities, plus so much more to consider. Now, before I kind of open the floor up to any questions, I've got one more thing I want to share with you. One more thing that's really important and really close to my heart, something that should be fundamental to any school and any child's journey with learning, and that's books. Books, 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 and more books. We have historically been a writing and reading rich school. And this is something that we want to continue to grow over the coming month, 2 months, 3 months. And I'm really pleased to say that last night I went along to the PALSA meeting, our fantastic PTA who do such a great job at raising funds for the school with all of your support, of course, coming along to events like the Christmas Fair, which raised over £1,000 for the school, which is just absolutely amazing, and other events throughout the year. Such as the wreath making and the bingo nights, they all help so much to generate much needed funds for the school. And last night I made a very short presentation to the PALSA team, and I'm very pleased to say that they've supported our idea of setting up new class libraries in addition to our main school library. So our main school library is really important and will continue to be moving forward, particularly for our accelerated reader stock and our whole class texts that are a really important part of our approach to literacy here at the Prince of Wales School. But moving forward, in addition to this, we're going to set up new class-based libraries so that reading can be celebrated just as much in the classroom as it is in the library. So the books are visible and accessible for children at all times during the day, particularly mindful of continued COVID restrictions as well, and sometimes some challenges getting to the library. The class libraries will negate that. So each teacher team is being given £600, £500 from PALS and £100 for the school to spend on creating a new Inspired to Learn class library. The class libraries will become a focal point for excellence in reading, and they will be embedded and highly visible in every classroom. Teachers are very excited about this. There's been a lot of buzz today, hasn't there, Jules?
Yes, there has.
And they're really, I think some people are already trying to order some books with Jules to get the ball rolling. So the idea is that the pupils will lead this, the pupils and families will lead this along with the teaching team, so that recommendations are made. So I'm encouraging teachers to go out on trips, to go and visit a bookshop or the library, perhaps to do some research, and maybe set a homework task to think about what books would you recommend to have in the classroom. And this is all about creating libraries that are age appropriate, that are relevant to the children that are in the classrooms right now, that will hopefully inspire future generations with their reading as well. So our plan is to have all class libraries, new class libraries, and please don't get me wrong, most of our classes already have some form of library in their room, but this is about creating something new and exciting in every space. And all class libraries will be in place by this half term at the latest. So we're really excited about that, and I hope you are too. And you may have ideas or connections that you want to share with your child's class teacher. And you may even have some books that are in really good condition that you want to donate as well, or new books that you want to donate, and that's great as well, and that will only add to the money that PALSA are putting in. So that's very much welcome. I fully appreciate that I've just talked at you for the last 20 minutes, so I apologise for that. I'll open the floor up to any questions, so feel free to unmute yourself and go for it. Damien, I think you're talking, but I can't hear you. I'm not sure why. You were unmuted, but I couldn't hear your microphone. Got my sound on.
Hello?
Damien, I can't hear you. Do you want to put your question in the chat? He's giving me a thumbs up. I can see it, Damien. I can see you, but I can't hear you. Feel free, if anyone else would prefer to put their question in the chat, then please feel free. So Damien says, excellent update, thank you. Just asking about classroom blogs and frequency of updating. Yeah, thank you, Damien. It is something that we try to encourage teachers to do once a week to provide regular updates. It's certainly something I'll go back to the teaching team and remind our expectations on that. I know how useful they are as parents to get those updates. Are you unmuted now, Damien? I think you are.
I think it works now. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, Damien.
Sorry about that.
Our hope is that they are updated weekly, and that's what we historically have been in a pattern doing. I will go back to teachers and just check that, you know, we have a shared understanding on that, and ensure that those posts come out regularly, because like I said, I know how useful they are as parents,
Definitely.
and to have those information. And I know particularly it's useful to know not only what they've been up to, but next steps and things like that as well. So I'll go back and remind.
Yeah, and they're really exciting. I've just been reading Mr. Bean's one, really exciting. Lots of work they've been doing on spreadsheets and things like that. And it's a really good way of us being able to keep updating with the kids, and they don't just say nothing's been going on today.
Yeah, that was one of mine, Damien. So I'll take credit for that.
Oh, well.
that was my spreadsheets lesson. So I'll take that.
They are really good, but it was just about the frequency of updating would be really good.
Yeah, the next question comes from Alex saying, does the new head teacher fulfill a class teacher role? So the new deputy head teacher will take a 0.4 teaching commitment up, which was the same that Miss Johnson was doing. Miss Johnson was doing 2 days in year 3 a week. And obviously those days at the moment are being covered by Mrs. Thorpe taking on an additional day and Mrs. Bishop taking an additional day. We will confirm in due course the exact commitment that Corin will take up. It won't necessarily be 2 days in year 3, because we've obviously got some other part-time working across the school, and Corin will be filling some of those gaps. So your child's main class teacher will not change, but there may be some changes on the 1 day a week where, for example, in year 2 or year 3 or other year groups where Mrs. March may come in. So those details to be confirmed, but they will be teaching. Yes. Ross says, thank you, Gary, for the update. No questions here. Thank you, Ross. If anyone's got a question, feel free to unmute or to put it in the text. I can be around as long as required. That's not a problem. I'm watching 3 reception children in full waterproof jacket and all onesies really, with wellies on, jumping up and down in muddy puddles. They look very happy as they do so. I think they're inviting more to come and do so as well. Are you going to join them, Mrs. Shorten?
I'd love to. I've got my waterproof.
Okay. If there are no more... Oh, hello.
Can I ask? Yes, hello. It's Emma.
Hey,
I just want to ask the books for the classrooms. I think it's a brilliant idea, and definitely it was well received at the meeting last night. How many books do you think each class is sort of going to get? Because yeah, it sounds like they'll actually get quite a lot for the money that you're making available for them. Yeah,
definitely. And I think, you know, it would be at least 100 texts in each classroom. I think in some cases it'll be more. Obviously, traditionally speaking, books for younger children are cheaper than those perhaps in Key Stage 2. And we'll look at that. And it may be that we don't put them all in the space immediately, but we drip them in through the year sort of thing, so that there's that kind of ongoing excitement. So, but the children will be involved in that process as well.
No, it sounds brilliant. Thank you.
I think with the books, you know, you've got to expect each child to be able to be taking one at home at a time, and therefore you probably want 1/3 of the stock at home and 2/3 of the stock in school, so that you get that continuous movement around the stock and you don't have empty bookshelves. I'll update you, the children outside have now created a jump to a wooden beam to jump over, to jump into the puddle. I think it increases the size of the splash. And there are now 5 children rather than 3 children there. Okay, I'm going to leave you all now. And thank you very much for joining me today. If there are any other questions or concerns or anything we can help with at all, then please come and see me at the gate, or come and see Jules in the office or Tom in the office, or drop me an email anytime. You know, we've always said this is, you know, our approach to education here at the Prince of Wales School is a partnership. We do things together. Thank you very much, everyone. Bye-bye.